Hello, my name is Keith Haswell. I'm a professional astrologer with 39 years experience in the business now and with over 30,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this video, and I'm going to be speaking with you on this video about fear. Yeah, it's a very deep emotion, fear. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for all of the feedback that I've been getting from all of my friends all over the world who are enrolled in my intensives and enjoy the horoscope readings that I do for you. And some of the feedback on the free astrology readings that are available through my website and on YouTube. Some of the feedback that I'm getting is absolutely gratifying, and some people say it's 100% accurate, 95% accurate, and that's just from a basic reading on the sun sign. So a lot of people can relate to it, and then when they get their own personal horoscope done, horoscope number 3, they are told a lot more intimate details of their life. And the feedback that I get, some people write and say that I don't usually write emails and write letters, but I just have to tell you about the number of things that were valid there in the reading that you did for me. So it's very gratifying, and I thank you for your feedback too on the videos that I've done on a variety of personal growth. So it's nice to link up with you again and to have the opportunity to be able to share with you some knowledge that I've gained along the way and to help you to develop wisdom. You gain wisdom in life through a combination of the experience in your life, through the events and conditions that you meet up with, and some of them not very nice and very impactful, and also the knowledge that you take in. So the experience of travel and the experience of being in your job and the experience with friends and the experience of dealing with finances and trying to keep yourself secure, the experiences of intimate relationships with family members and those who cohabitate with you in the home and with relatives and neighbours, some of them that you don't get on too well with, and areas of your life of an intimate nature, romance, sex and the social side of your life, and romance and children. And also there's all the people that you work with. So there's a lot of experience that you're getting there and impacts that you're creating upon your workmates and they're creating upon you, and health matters and dietary matters having a big impact upon you, and those close ones like partners and marriage, spouse and partners of that description. And of course there's death and the fear of death, and joint finances, relatives, in-laws that sometimes you don't get on too well with, and also the higher learning and higher education through the study, research and investigation of higher educational courses and things like that, personal growth and expansion of your understanding about law and philosophy and parenthood or the economy or whatever that you're into there. So you've got all of these experiences in life, and experience in business, experience with friends, some that you don't get on too well with and some that you're fearful of losing, and you've got hospitals and institutions and secret worries of a private nature that you don't discuss with other people. So there's a lot of experience that you're having, and it's all mentally and emotionally. That's where you are polarized in consciousness. And I want to talk with you on this video about pain and fear and the pain that comes from fear. Now, the first thing about fear is that it is a real emotion. It does have a positive attribute, a positive potential, a potential of a positive outcome. Fear can bring change and motivate to change, but it also has a negative side, so that makes it a real emotion. A real emotion is one that has a positive and a negative potential. Whereas guilt is not a real emotion because it doesn't have a positive side. Guilt is anger that you feel that you're either going to get into trouble for expressing or that you don't want to express, or that you don't have the right to express. So there's a lot of experience out there in life, and you're dealing with fear. Guilt is anger that you feel that you don't have a right to express, or that you're going to get into trouble for expressing, and so you stuff it inside of yourself as self-pity or martyr or shame or anxiety or doubt or insecurity, low self-esteem, problems with self-image and so forth. So everyone is having all of these experiences in life, and a lot of these experiences in life are painful. And they are painful because they are a part of fear. Fear, love and fear are the two ultimate emotions and energies. And so they're in polar opposites. So you could pretty well say that all of our blockages have their birth within fear. So the object of the exercise is to transform fear. Fear is an emotion, a real emotion that has a positive and a negative potential. The object of the exercise is to be able to transform that energy. You can't kill it, but to transform that energy into its positive potential. And that positive potential is change and success. So that's what you're out to do, is to bring about change inside of yourself through the experiences of your life. A lot of them have their base in fear, and you bring about changes within yourself in terms of your raw materials, your attitudes, your beliefs, your thoughts and your feelings and your decisions and your choices. So you are all on the path of growth. You're in incarnation, you've lived hundreds of lives before, and it's time to come to an understanding of what life is all about, and the fact that it is an emotional consciousness space and it is a mental consciousness space. The vehicle and the physical events are all emotional and mental in their impact and their instigation and motivation. So everything originates from this fear, and it can be transmuted and transformed inside of yourself into success and into change. Now, it's important to understand that you're not a failure because you have fear. It's normal, it's natural to have fear. You need it. You need fear as you're growing up through your childhood and your infancy and your childhood and your adolescence. You need to have fear. And fear of the unknown is a big one. So there's a lot of fears there that we all are becoming enamoured with and have been for many, many lifetimes, enamoured with fears. The important thing is you've got to ask yourself is, how do I react to fear? And how do you react to change? Change, a lot of people don't like change. I guess it creates all sorts of fears and insecurities inside of ourselves. Now, a very important thing for you to understand about fear is that it throws your chakras out of balance. You have an etheric body, and in that etheric body are 7 major centres. There's the head centre, centre between the eyes, the throat centre, the heart centre, the solar plexus centre, and the centre at the base, the sacral centre, and the base of the spine. So you've got these 7 etheric vortices of force that are receiving energies from the planets and from the sun and from the earth itself, and that's what gives you your life. And you are here experiencing things for a reason, And that reason is consciousness expansion and developing your living, loving, breathing relationship and partnership with God, Goddess, all that is. That's the ultimate task at hand. And so you're dealing with all of this fear and change. And these energies that are coming into you, the fear that you're generating, throws your chakras, your vortices of force, out of balance, out of whack. So they're not distributing the energies that are going through you, the etheric energies and the emotional energies and the mental energies from the planets and from the sun and from the earth itself. These energies of life are coursing through your chakras, and if you've got fear in there, blockages basically, then that's going to block the free flow of these energies, and that creates all sorts of illnesses and so forth, and psychoses and all sorts of mental problems. Now, it not only throws the chakras out of balance physically in your etheric body, but also emotionally and mentally, because these chakras in the physical body are only the counterparts from the cores, which is the emotional chakras, and they are the product of the cores, which is the mental chakras. So you've got all of these chakras on all the different levels of consciousness, and these energies that are going through you are going to those negative belief patterns that you have in there, attitudes and beliefs, thoughts and feelings and decisions and choices that you make, all there inside of yourself on emotional and mental levels, and you're expressing all of that into the houses of your horoscope. Now, the important thing to understand is that you've been brought to my website and to my videos by your higher self, who wanted you to see and hear this information and knowledge, and wanted you to access my CDs and printed pages that I give out free from the website, and CDs where I take you in and out of meditation and so forth time and time again, to help you to become a master of the science of meditation. And you are a map maker. You are making the maps for those who will be following throughout the balance of this century. You are making the maps and ushering in the new age. So this is, you don't make maps if you're already at your destination. And you don't need to craft a map if you're in harmony and balance inside of yourself, in all your chakras and so forth. So naturally, you are in the mainstream, the maelstrom of the fear and the out of whack. Everybody's got their centres out of whack. Everybody's in chaos, and everybody's having all of these fears inside of themselves. And you also experience that, so that you can make maps to get out of that into balance. That's what the task at hand is for you in life, is to take that imbalance and process it into balance. And you do that by changing your raw materials, your attitudes, your beliefs, your thoughts and your feelings and your decisions and your choices. Look, it's important to understand that we are mental and emotional beings, that we are manipulating energy on the emotional and mental planes. And that energy is living energy, thought forms. And where do they live? Who created them? You created them, so naturally they're living in your vortex, in your field of force, your aura. They get inside your body there and cause all sorts of problems. So it's important to understand that you're a mental and emotional person. This is where your consciousness is focused, and this is where you are polarized in the chaos that the world is experiencing, but you are going to make the maps out of that chaos But you have to be in chaos first of all in order to be able to experience what it's like. You wouldn't want to come in on a silver platter and everything's all perfect for you right from the word go. You've thrown yourself into chaos and to fear to experience what your fellow man is experiencing, to give you compassion. And from there you work your way out of it. Well, yeah, the only way you can work your way out of it is to become wise and enlightened. And you become wise through experience and an intake of knowledge. You're having the experiences, some of them that you don't like and that you're not happy about and that you want to get away from, a million miles away like. So you're experiencing all of these things that are going on there in your life, and you're experiencing a lot of chaos. You want to get out of that. So that's what map making is all about. And my intensives can help you to understand how you can work your way out of it. Look, we're complex beings now. We've lifted ourselves to a technological state that we are all highly educated and highly informed through the multimedia and the television and the newspapers and whatnot. So everybody's informed about what's going on all over the world, and you're intelligent enough now to handle the level of complexity that people couldn't handle 100 years ago. So you've got a lot of complexity inside of yourself, a lot of chaos inside of yourself, and you want to resolve that chaos and turn it into balance. You want to resolve that fear and turn it into balance and harmony inside of yourself. And so you've come to my website in order to be able to access my CDs, which I give away free of charge, and to have your horoscope done by me so you can learn about your tests in life. And horoscope number 2 is very good for understanding yourself in more depth as a personal thing, and what tests that you're facing in life. And horoscope number 3, I go into all sorts of things like progressions and stuff, as well as a synthesized analysis of all what's in your horoscope, all the aspects between the planets and everything like that. So anyway, your higher self has brought you here in order to be able to grow, in order to be able to expand, in order to be able to take your next step forward in the evolution of your consciousness. And that involves making the maps and getting yourself out of it through knowledge. So you're having a lot of experience, you're now ready to take in a bundle of knowledge, and you're mentally equipped to be able to handle that, and to learn the art of meditation and the science of meditation, which is a big challenge in itself, to be able to take yourself out of the riot and the chaos and to find your safe place, and to find harmony and peace and balance down there in the deeper levels of life, or the higher levels of life, and to link up with inner friends. That's what the name of the game is to link up with these inner friends, your higher self, your soul and spirit, God, Goddess, all that is, and many others that you'll learn about through my intensives. So anyway, on to about your fear. You're having a lot of problems with fear. You're out to develop safety, security, and power in the midst of chaos. That's your task. Fear is about priorities and decisions, about your focus in life and about your raw materials. That's what it's all about, is transforming those raw materials of yours, those attitudes and beliefs, the thoughts and the feelings and the decisions and the choices. We go through life thinking that all of these events are all just by random chance, and that they couldn't possibly happen by some interchange of energy from higher levels and higher dimensions, such as the planetary beings. So no, that's won't be let in by science, but you're on to metaphysics, not just physics. And so it's up to you to start learning now to be sensitive to the inner side of life, the subjective side of life, and the spiritual side of life, the metaphysical side of life. That's where your focus is in the future, is to learn how to transform those raw materials, those attitudes and beliefs, thoughts and feelings and decisions and your choices through a process connected with meditation called processing. Now there's two options for you. You've got to ask yourself the question, these are the decisions that you've got to make about your raw materials. You've got to ask, am I going to focus upon my anger? These are the things that represent our blockages. Self-pity, guilt, shame, low self-image, low levels of self-esteem, martyrhood, anxiety, domination, manipulation and control. Do you know anything about them? Or have you experienced any of that? Of course you have. Everybody's out there trying to control everybody so that I can control. If I can control it all, then I'll be able to mould and shape it all into the way that I want it to be. And so domination, manipulation and control are a big feature of the lives of the average person in the consensus reality that we experience in our space-time rule set. Self-sabotage, rage, envy, greed, lust, and our various addictive patterns of behaviour. Addictions to drugs, addictions to alcohol, addictions to sex, addictions to gambling, addictions to overdoing it on the social side of life, addictions to overeating, addictions to self-pity and all of these different things that we become enamoured with, and shame and dwelling in the past and aggressiveness and argumentativeness. These represent our blockages. And the other thing now about your priorities and your decisions about your raw materials and what you're going to do with them, if you believe that they are the inner cause of all of the events of your life, you attract them by the law of attraction. That's a common understanding that's filtering down into the community. The other way, instead of through blockages, as far as choices and decisions are concerned and priorities, is to work through and direct the energies of the attention of your mind and your emotions to your strengths and your powers and your talents. And all of these are wrapped up in your principles. Your principles are the things that we need to live by in the spiritual society and to transform those raw materials, to transform those blockages that I've just rattled off. Courage, determination, strength, willpower, and courage is a very, very powerful one. Courage is the willingness to act. Even though you don't have all the answers, and even though some of the answers that you do have are wrong, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes. And forgiveness and sympathy and tolerance and patience and understanding and love and compassion, commitment, intimacy, caring, sharing. So these are all these principles: reliability, trustworthiness, and punctuality. These are all the principles that we all will ultimately be working through. And character is the degree to which you adhere to your principles. So that's the name of the game, is to adhere to your principles. And by adhering to your principles and values, you transform those raw materials. So character is the frequency with which we apply our principles and our values. So this is the task in life for all of us, and this is the way to be able to transform these raw materials, your attitudes and your beliefs, your thoughts and your feelings, and your decisions and your choices, to be able to transform them into principles and to live by them. And these raw materials then all gradually shrink, because these are the blockages that I'm talking about. They shrink because they're not getting the attention of the... You've got to understand that your mind is a director of energy, and that when you think about something, immediately on the emotional plane, that is a reality there. That the energy on the emotional plane is very, very impacted, very, very readily impacted by a conscious thinker, a human thinker, in other words. So it's very pliable. That's why you can close your eyes if you've got a good imagination. You can imagine things very clearly, because you're seeing that with your third eye, what you might say. So it's very, very exciting what's going on in the world today. The chaos that's in the world today is staggering. We're entering into a new age, and it's a wonderful time to be alive. Now, it's important to understand that it's okay to experience fear, and that it's okay to be afraid. That's a natural attribute for survival, is a fear of dark places and a fear of falling from a height, and if someone's coming towards you with a gun, you want to run. That's a fear motivated you to turn and get out of there as far as away as you can from that guy with the gun or the knife. And you've got to understand too that you're not going to try to fall for the trap of perfection. It's a program over a period of time. You're not going to be able to just switch off from those blockages and those negative emotions of fear and anxiety and doubt and insecurity and low self-esteem and problems with your self-image and self-sabotage and martyrhood and self-pity is always a powerful one. So these are all the things that everybody is enamored with, and it's okay to be human. It's okay to be full of fear. It's okay to have blockages. You don't want to become perfect overnight. And so you've set yourself a certain task written in your horoscope as to what you want to achieve in this incarnation and the type of events through which you'll achieve that, and learn that through that experience. But you've come to me, your higher self has brought you to this video and to my website in order to be able to get your hands on those CDs and to start to learn about these things that I've been into for the last 39 years. I mean, if you devoted the next 39 years to study, research and investigate all the things that I've been studying and investigating, you may not have the time to be able to do that. So you really need somebody to say, well, I've got the nuts and bolts out of that, I've got the cream out of that, I've got the main features of that, I've got the main understanding of that, and the main points that are of value to you, and I'm prepared to share that with you. So this is the wise thing to do, rather than to plough through all the books and all the tapes and all the intensives and everything like that. You come to somebody like me who can give you the nuts and bolts, the nitty-gritty, and the main features about it. And the main features about it is that God and Goddess love you and know your name, and they want to be your partner, and they've given you the gift of eternal life. You can never ever die. What a beautiful gift. And they've given you the gift of consciously creating your reality in accordance and compliance with your will, instead of your subconscious will as it's been in most cases. And so you've experienced a lot of fear, and you've experienced a lot of pain, and you've experienced a lot of these blockages and so forth. You've tested all that out, and you've found It doesn't bring happiness, doesn't bring harmony, doesn't bring peace, doesn't bring joy, doesn't bring wonder and awe and love into your life. So consequently, you want to grow and reach and stretch to become all that you can be and more. And God and Goddess are there waiting for you. And it goes on for eternity. So you just keep on coming back time after time after time until you reach a level of relative perfection, and then you can move on into higher dimensions of complexity and higher dimensions of consciousness that are way above us, that we can't even comprehend or understand what they're all up to through these planets and solar systems and groups of solar systems called constellations. And imagine living through the body of a being who's got 49 solar systems as his body of manifestation. What about a galaxy? What about a universe? So it's amazing when you start getting into these things how it changes your whole perception of life, because you don't live in fear of death. You know how to be able to program your reality so that all your finances work out well, and everything in terms of your relationship with relatives and neighbours all work out well. This is where all your fear is spread throughout all these areas of your horoscope. They're all the areas of your life. So you have a lot of insecurities to do with the family and the domestic side of life, and a lot of antagonisms and tensions and others trying to dominate and manipulate and control you and so forth. And you have fears of intimacy and fears of romance and love, and fears to do with children, fears to do with the job, and health and dietary matters are a major source of fear, and fear of incapacity and so forth. Fear of rejection in marriage and things like that. A large percentage of the marriage, 50% of the marriages, end up in separation and divorce, and another 30% are living in complete pain and agony in their relationship, but they put up with it. There's fears of death and problems with in terms of your dealing with in-laws that maybe you don't get on well with, conflicts about religious and spiritual matters, conflicts and tensions in business and career, and dealings with parents and dealings with government departments. Your friends are a whole source of fear, fear of intimacy, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of ridicule, fear of humiliation. So there's all of these different fears that are all spread throughout the various events that you're going through, in the insecurities of financially of losing your job and things like that, and the humiliation if you find yourself grossly overweight. And then there's a lot of fears about being alone and alone forever in the 12th house of your horoscope, and nobody loving you, and nobody knowing you, and nobody understanding you. So the object of the exercise is to learn and become aware of your blockages. And it's okay to have blockages. It's okay to not be perfect. It's part of the human condition. And to reflect upon that. And through an intake of knowledge, through my intensives, you can expand your understanding about these things and learn to master the science of meditation. And then you can start working on the emotional plane inside of yourself with your emotions and your beliefs and your attitudes and your feelings and your thoughts. So all of this is a way of transforming yourself. It's a new age that we're moving into. It's a very exciting time to be alive. The next 20 years, 25 years is going to see a tremendous transformation of the consciousness of humanity, because we're all starting to learn that the normal state of consciousness, it doesn't produce happiness. and that it's only when you turn to the subjective side of life and the spiritual side of life and start developing those principles that you are able to say, yes, I can see now how it all works. So to know the nature of reality and your place in that reality, how it all functions, and how does the mind impact upon all of these things, it's staggering what there is to learn. And those who go through my 3 intensives, at the end of it, they just rave about the transformation in their consciousness. So it's time for you also to, I'll give you the 12 CDs of intensive number 1 free of charge, and happy to give you the printed pages out of my first book, What Really Matters, on astrology, meditation and reincarnation, and help you to start getting rid of the fear, working on those blockages, understanding that it's okay to have blockages, to forgive yourself for trying to ever be perfect overnight. You can't do it, and it's a long-term process over a period of years, but taking in knowledge immediately puts you in a position of power to be able to start working on those raw materials in meditation. It's all scientific and it's all wonderful. And God and Goddess are there to be your partner and to co-create with you, so that once you learn processing and clear yourself out, then you learn programming, which is another aspect of the science of meditation. You learn programming, and then you can program the events and conditions in your life yourself, or in a co-creating way with your higher self, with your future self, with Christ, with who is the world's spiritual teacher, or with God, Goddess, all that is. So there's plenty of inner friends there who are happy to work with you, and your soul and spirit too. It's important to understand that there's just so much energy that is being not utilised there in terms of fear. Fear is energy that is blocked up if it's tied up with your blockages. And this is energy, and there's a tremendous amount of power in that energy. So the object of the exercise is to unfold that power by turning those blockages into principles and values, and then everything's going to be working quite well in your life. It's time to release that trapped power, that energy, that entropy. High entropy means that you are an average human being, and high entropy means that energy that is trapped in there, in those raw materials, in those blockages, that can't be put to work. So the object of the exercise is to lower your entropy, and you increase that, you lower your entropy and you unblock that energy so that you can then use it. That's power. And you can learn the science of meditation and processing and programming and start creating your reality in accordance and compliance with your conscious choices instead of your subconscious choices as it's been up to now. Another thing that fear does is it creates lowered expectations, and expectations are one of the tools. Your desire, your imagination and your expectancy are the 3 tools that you use to mould and shape your raw materials, your attitudes and your beliefs, your thoughts and your feelings and your decisions and your choices. The first 4 are the raw materials, your decisions and choices. Then work with those raw materials, and you've got to make the right choices and the right decisions there that are in your best interests to bring you happiness and to bring you harmony and to get you out of that chaos, so that you can start learning then and focusing and concentrating upon developing your principles and your values and mastering the science of meditation and learning, most importantly, how does it all function? How does reality function? and what impact do the planets have and so forth. It's important to understand that all of your decisions and choices that you make as a result of your blockages are energies there that are in the realm of possibilities. The events of your life here in the physical world are all there in the realm of possibilities. Now, the thing that makes it go from possibility to the next level down towards reality, towards expression, is probabilities. So some possibilities become probabilities depending on where your energy is flowing, depending upon the energy of the mind, because your mind directs energy. It's important to understand that. Your mind directs energy, and it's focusing upon these negative blockages, and the energy there is activating those things and changing them from possibilities to probabilities. And what probabilities would they be with blockages? Negative probabilities. And then from that pool of possibilities, certain of these things become actualities as events and conditions in your life. And a lot of those events and conditions, when they're sponsored from the blockages, that it turns out to be quite painful and very fearful. Now, it's important to understand that these incipient events that are the result of your habitual patterns of thought and feeling remain there in a state of possibilities, a pool of possibilities. The energies of your mind and your emotions go to the ones that will stand out. If it's through blockages, it'll be negative events. So they go into the pool of probabilities. Remember that you are directing energy from the mind all the time as you're thinking upon these blockages and these thought forms of anger and shame and dwelling in the past and fear and low self-esteem and bad self-image and I'll never amount to anything, life is a financial struggle for me. So you're driving energy all the time to these thought forms that are there in this pool of probabilities, and then the ones that have the most energy become actualities. And the actualities are brought about, you might think, well, how does that little thought form create all these chain of events that occurred as a result of that? That all happens from the planetary cycles. So what's happening basically is that the planets are moving around the zodiac, and when Mars gets into a square aspect, 90 degrees, or a conjunction, or an opposition with any one of your natal planets, then that's going to activate and take from the pool of probabilities to an expression in actuality, and it's a event that's filled with tension and anger and high sexual expression and stress and so forth, because that's the nature of Mars. And as Mercury starts going around and forming aspects, negative aspects with your natal planets, then some of those active ones with all the energy in the probabilities become actualities as an event in your life. And that's to do with the mental side of you, Mercury, to do with your job and to do with health and all of that communication with relatives and neighbours that are not very nice. And Venus is your love nature, and when it forms bad aspects, negative things can happen in relationships and financially. And you've got Saturn. When Saturn forms a bad aspect with any of your natal planets, it's more drawn out, bringing depression and frustration and obstruction, depending on which planet it is forming the aspect with. But this is the thing that brings them from the probabilities to the actualities as events, are those cycles in your horoscope. And that's why it's advantageous to have your horoscope done, because you can find out when are the main cycles that are going to activate these things, and when is the right timing to make changes in your residence or changes in your job. When am I going to experience better finances and so forth? So it can all be explained by the movement of these planets in your horoscope. And that's what the name of the game is. The name of the game is to develop understanding and to be able to learn how reality works, and to develop those principles within yourself of integrity and giving and caring and sharing and love and forgiveness and kindness and tolerance and punctuality and reliability and trustworthiness and intimacy. So all of these things that you're working on to develop inside of yourself are your principles and values. And so that's what you want to focus your attention upon. That's where you want to express that energy. And then you will not experience the fear in your life. So that's the way to do it, to get rid of this fear and to overcome fear, is to bring knowledge into yourself so that you understand what you're up against in life and how it all functions, and how can you have things going your way from now on. And you soon find out that you've got these inner friends who are happy to co-create with you, and God and Goddess, all that is, they definitely want to be your partner and to co-create in your reality. They can be fully 100% conscious with you and you alone, even though they can be conscious with everybody else in the universe, all at the same time, all on different levels and higher levels of consciousness than what we babies are. The human level is only the first level of self-consciousness. So you can imagine how busy he is. If he was subject to time, you can imagine how busy he'd be with all of these higher beings, trying to help them to work out their complexity and to find their way through the maze and the mystery that always is there. Oh, it's very, very exciting what's ahead for all of us. But don't try to become perfect overnight. Take your time and expand your consciousness. Have your horoscope done and decide that you've had enough of the fear. That the fear can be transformed scientifically over a period of time from reducing those blockages and the energies that those blockages entail, and lowering that entropy, which has been blocking the energy that's in there, those raw materials of your blockages have been holding energy that can't be put to work. And put to work creating a more positive reality for yourself. So yes, it's very complex, but we're up to the task now. We're up to the task now to understand what's our future, what's our heritage spiritually as a human family. So it's very, very exciting when you start delving into this, even just to know that you've got eternal life, that you can never ever die. You lose your fear of death. And you just look forward to death, because that's where you go to review your past life and to find out where you made a fool of yourself, and where you let people down, and where you lost points, what you might say. But nobody judges you. God and Goddess are not there judging you at that point in time. You're judging yourself. Your higher self is sitting there with you. You're in a higher state of consciousness, and you're able to see all of the events and conditions of your life one at a time, or 10 at a time, or whatever. You've got the mental capacity at that level to be able to see it all from a different point of view, and to experience all the events and impact that you had on others of a negative nature from their position, from in their body. And it's just incredible what's in store for us all after death. And when you start learning about these things and learning about the science of meditation and learning about astrology and getting it all together about how it all functions and works, you feel much more powerful, because now you're in control of things. Now you're working through your principles and your values. Not perfect in this lifetime. Don't have to be. You've got plenty of lifetimes in the future that you can take your time to move into and enjoy yourself, some as male, some as female, and start on your next journey. So I'm here to help you to become more of who you really are, and I look forward to working with you through my intensives. And I give you the first 12 CDs out of my book, What Really Matters, on astrology, meditation and reincarnation, free of charge. So you can just listen to them in your own time and work out how long you want to take to work through them. And then you can get into intensives 2 and 3. And if you pay for your horoscope, at least at this stage, it's only $60 at this stage for your personal horoscope. If you get that done, well, then you're entitled to go into intensives 2 and 3. They're normally $60. So you pay the $60 for the horoscope and you get the intensive 2 and 3 thrown in free of charge and have your life transformed. And you'll be much more confident, have a higher level of self-esteem, a more powerful self-image, and you'll be experiencing happiness in your reality and success in your reality, and your impact upon others will be more positive and uplifting and purifying and transforming for them as well. So you're a leader, you're a spiritual leader, you're a map maker, you're going to be a focal point of understanding for your loved ones in your circle and sphere of influence. So it's time to become the map maker and the giant that you truly are, and to realise that God and Goddess love you and know your name, and they are itching to become your partner and to play a bigger part in your life. And you can become a magical man, a magical woman. Have a good time through my intensives. I look forward to working with you further, and I hope that you've learned a bit about fear and the way that it all works and everything from this video. Subscribe to my videos so that you'll get every new one that comes out. I'm pumping out at least one a week, and you can keep on growing and reaching and stretching to become more of the giant that you truly are. And forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. And when you get into my intensive number 1 material, I'll start taking you into meditations and everything in them. Try and do it with headphones because it's much more intimate and close. And enjoy the journey with me. I thank you for your attentiveness, and I look forward to working further with you as you proceed. And let go of that fear. Let go of that fear and start working on those blockages, and there's a whole new reality there for you to experience. More joy, more wonder, more love, more magic, more miracles, more happiness, more success, better health, longer life, and a greater relationship with God, Goddess, all that is. I mean, they gave you all these things as a gift. The power to create your own reality, the tools with which to work with. But he also set you a challenge. I mean, you don't go into incarnation for the first time and then everything's just smooth and sailing along. You came here to learn. You came here to expand your consciousness. You came here to grow and reach and stretch your intellect and your love and your compassion and your understanding and your tolerance and your sympathy and your forgiveness and your love. Did I say love? So enjoy yourself anyway, because God and Goddess are having a good time watching everybody grow here spiritually. It's going to be a big 20 years ahead. now to really anchor all these things into the mind of all the map makers who are in incarnation. And you're one of them. And you're a focal point and disseminator of the energy of life and the energy of love and the energy of sympathy and tolerance and patience and trust and idealism and devotion and all those wonderful things, punctuality and reliability and trustworthy and so forth. So thank you for your attentiveness once again, and I hope you enjoyed this video.